Hello, my name is Catherine Donnan, and I'm going to be sharing my final reflection with you. As this semester went on, I learned a lot about technology and education. And going through the class, I was actually surprised with how much I already knew. Um, but it was really nice to get a technical term and to learn the research and the best practices behind each of those concepts. So even though I felt like I had a strong knowledge, I learned a lot. And so going forward, there are three target areas of growth that I'd like to focus on. The first one is gamification, the next is assistive technology, and then the last area I'd like to work on this year is blended learning. So within gamification, I really like the way games can be used to enhance students' learning of a content. Specifically, I like the way it really harnesses student engagement. I notice it a lot in my classrooms when we do games such as Quizlet or Kahoot or Quiz. When students, they try and get to the next level or they try and earn badges, so it really kind of focuses them in on learning that content. Especially, I think the competition aspect, the progressions, how they can keep learning one skill after the next. So I would just really like to be able to use gamification in other ways to enhance student engagement in my classroom. Other than just some of the websites that I mentioned earlier, I kind of use it like surface level, but I think there's a lot of potential. And Edutopia and TeachThought, those were two resources in the class that had so many different examples and options to use. And so I think going forward, I would like to try and go through some of those different games and apply those into my classroom, or look through those and see if I know of other classrooms in my building that might benefit from those, and going about trying to integrate them. So not a whole lot, but just maybe pick one type of gamification to implement a month, just kind of test it out to see which ones work the best. Next up is technology and accessibility, especially assistive technology. That really interests me. I already use it a lot in my classroom because I like the way it plays on students' strengths to help overcome their challenges. However, I feel like I could use it more effectively if I knew kind of what else is out there. I use Google Read and Write with my students, I would say daily, being a language arts class. And audiobooks. So just helping students read a challenging text, or look up definitions, or give a picture definition if the written out definition is a little too challenging, and audiobooks. But I'm just curious, like, what else is out there to help assistants who are struggling with content. And a lot of my students are at risk reading wise, and I do have a large group of students who are special ed. So I'd really like to know what other resources are out there. And again, Edutopia, I just love that website. I think they have a lot of great resources on there. And then Reading Rockets, they had a lot of information as well on assistive technology. And so I'd just like to kind of go in depth a little with those two websites and all the tools that they have available. Specifically, kind of going back to the gamification, just trying one new assistive technology a month. Just try one thing out, and either in my classroom, or see if I could partner up with like another teacher in another content area, because I know a lot already for reading and writing, but for other subjects, it would be interesting to see what else is out there. And finally, the last area of growth that I really would like to focus on is blended learning. So blended learning is a combination of traditional and online learning. I think it is definitely the way of the future, and I think it is a way for me as an educator to be able to meet the needs of all my students. With blended learning, I can challenge those students who need to be challenged. Students can work at their own pace. Students who need remedial work, they can be given those specific interventions. And while students work and go through different rotations or use the computer or are working in small groups, I can be working with a small group of students specifically focusing on the skills that they need. And so I truly believe that blended learning is the way of the future. And so I think that I need to be able to implement this in my classroom in order to help out and assist other teachers. And one of the ways I really think that I can become more successful at blended learning is to become a education certified trainer for Google. That is the platform that our school district uses. We use Google for everything. And so I think to really tap into the full potential that Google has will help me create more of a blending learning environment in my school. So those are my 3 areas that I would like to grow in over the next year. I definitely use technology a lot in my classroom, and I like to explore and learn new things. So I'm really excited to kind of try some of these areas out and kind of have a focus for the next year. So I can't wait to see what happens with the next year and with the rest of this endorsement.